Hey friends, this is Thor, and today I want to talk to you about delves. Now, why do we want to talk about delves? With Season 1 of the War Within just a few days away, delves are going to be one of the easiest ways to get really good gear during the first week of the season. We will not have access to Mythic Plus during the first week of the season, and we will only have access to Normal and Heroic Raid, which of course have a weekly lockout. So delves, which will scale all the way up to the maximum item level rewards that we can get from them, will be a solid source of gear and will help us get off on the right foot as we head into Season 1. Now, how are we going to get gear from delves? If you've been doing them throughout the preseason, you'll know that the gear that you get from them is kind of random, there's not a lot of pieces, and they're generally low item level. Well, the real secret that comes with these delves, maybe it's not a secret, but what's going to come from these delves is the chest that comes at the end of a Bountiful Delve. If you open up your map, you'll see that some of the delves, one in each zone, has kind of an orange portal around it, and it is flagged as a Bountiful Delve when you hover over it with your mouse. These delves give you a bonus chest upon completion that you have the option to use a restored coffer key on. You get these restored coffer keys through weekly world events, things like the special assignments, things like the weekly quest to go out and do world quests. You're able to get up to 4 of these keys per week. You can spend them at the end of a Bountiful Delve and open up a chest that will have a higher item level reward. Now, right now, we're only able to do up to level 3 delves, and these have adventurer track gear, which you can endlessly farm in heroic dungeons. So they're not very valuable now, but at the beginning of Season 1, we will actually be able to get up to champion track gear if you are able to complete a Bountiful Delve on level 8 or higher. That is where the highest rewards for delves come, is at the level 8 mark. Even though the delves scale up to level 11, we can stop at level 8 for the purposes of maximizing our gear. Gear that you get from the Bountiful chest at the end of a level 8 delve will drop at item level 603. It will be champion track 3 out of 8, and because of the amount of keys that we're going to have, this is going to be one of the best ways that you can gear up your character at the beginning of Season 1. Now, there are a few things that we should note about Bountiful Delves here. There is one in each zone per day. So for example, we have Cragval's Rest today in Isle of Dorn. If we go down into the Ringing Deeps, you'll see that it's the Red Pit, and if you click into each of the zones, there is one delve that is bountiful per day. As soon as you complete that delve as a Bountiful Delve, it will no longer be bountiful whether or not you open up the chest. This is important to remember on day 1 of the patch, on day 1 of the season, because if you log in, you will not be able to go straight into a level 8 delve. You have to level up through the system, so you have to complete a 4, 5, 6, and 7 before you can get to level 8. And if you do one of these Bountiful Delves on a lower level, you will lose access to the chest at the end that would be from a level 8 delve. This is not the end of the world, but if you want to maximize the amount of champion track gear that you're able to get on day 1, you want to pick one of the delves that is not bountiful on that day, because these rotate daily, and level up your delves through the other ones. And then once you get to level 8 and you're confident that you can complete it successfully, then you will want to go in and spend your keys on the chest at level 8 to get your 603 gear from these delves. Now, what are we expecting as far as difficulty from these delves? Well, we can't test them at level 8 on live servers right now. However, the beta is still up, and I was able to do some testing in delves today during stream on the beta, and the results were a little bit surprising to me. What we found is that doing a level 8 delve as protection was relatively easy. I didn't take a ton of damage, and I was able to do enough damage to get through the delve in a relatively speedy manner. I do want to note that it seems like the damage output that Bran Bronzebeard is able to do is a little bit higher than I expected it on the beta. Just using his rapid fire ability as a 1-to-1 comparison, my level 14 Bran on live was doing about 40,000 damage per hit with his rapid fire, and my level 4 Bran on the beta was doing about 4 times as much as that. It was about 150k damage per hit. So something is going on weird with the scaling there. The way that scaling works in delves on the beta, for a level 8 delve, we were scaled to item level 600. My gear was higher than that, so it was actually being scaled down, and I don't know if something weird was going on with the scaling with Bran, or if there's also like kind of double scaling where he also scales with the level of the delve. But he was hitting much harder than I expected to, and that definitely made the delve go faster than it would have if the damage was kind of equalized to what he's able to output on live servers. But the incoming damage which is not really affected by Bran being a DPS as I had him spec to, didn't feel overwhelming as protection. Now, I did the same delve. I did the Nightfall Sanctum as Fury after I had completed his protection without really breaking a sweat, and Fury was a whole nother matter. As a Fury warrior in this delve, I was getting hurt pretty badly by the mobs at the same item level. Again, we were skilled to item level 600. One of the solo mobs that I pulled just meleeed me for like 1.5 million damage with each hit and killed me in about 30 seconds. I was able to kill it when I came back in by essentially kiting it and letting second wind heal me back up while Bran DPS'd it down. And then the last boss in that delve, I just found impossible to beat as Fury. A better Fury warrior than me could probably handle it, but there were 3 bosses. It's like a little council fight, and they were each hitting me for about 400k damage melee swings. There was a shadow bolt that you couldn't kick all of because there's an immunity that one of them casts that you have to kick, and the shadow bolts were hitting for 1 million damage, and I just found the incoming damage to be overwhelming. Even with Bran's spec as a healer, I was not able to last more than about 30 seconds in that fight. Now, I know there were some hotfixes that went to Bran to make him more effective as both a healer and a damage dealer, and I don't know if those were applied to the beta. I kind of don't think they were because his healing really seemed underwhelming. But at the end of the day, I guess what I'm trying to say is, as a tank, these tier 8 delves are probably going to feel really good. Now, there is going to be a little bit of an item level difference between what we have on live and what we're able to be skilled to on the beta. I don't think anyone is quite to item level 600 yet, outside of people who have been doing, exploits and all that kind of stuff. But for those of us who've been able to get to close to 590, that's still a 10 item level gap, and that will be significant as far as your health and your mitigation goes, and your damage output. But I think these will be very doable for most tank classes. As a protection warrior, I had more than enough self-sustain, and my damage taken was very, very low for the most part, outside of a couple of irresponsible pulls that I did. But I was able to survive and complete it without dying as protection. And then as Fury, the damage intake was very, very high, and I found it very challenging in some places just to be able to survive. I was able to kill most of the mobs pretty quickly as Fury, so I think if you play well and carefully and you know your defensives and you're ready to use them, a lot of DPS classes will probably be able to get through these without breaking a sweat, but some of them may have a harder time. As far as things that you can do right now to prepare yourself to be set up for success in these higher level delves, one of the big things that you can do is level your companion Bran Bronzebeard up to level 15. That is his current cap in the preseason. During the season, his cap will be all the way up to level 60. It'll probably take a long time to get him there, but we can level him up to level 15 so that we can start with a higher level companion. One notable thing is that every level he gets at least beyond level 10, he gets a stack of this Explorer's Ammunition Journal, which increases his damage by 5% if you have him spec'd as a damage dealer. And if you have him spec'd as a healer, it increases his healing done by 25%. So if you find yourself struggling in these tier 8 delves, leveling Bran up a few times on one of the lower difficulties might be a way that you can have a little bit more of an easy time getting through these delves. He's going to be scaling pretty dramatically with his buff at 5% per level, so getting like another 30%, 40% damage on him, which may take a while to do, could be a way that you're able to more easily move through these dungeons. Delves. Other things that you can do are just try to maximize your character's gear. I've been able to get my warrior almost up to item level 589 just by spending my crests and crafting a few things. I did send my spark on a shield, which I wouldn't necessarily advise you guys to do. I just am pretty confident that I'm going to be wearing a crafted shield all season, so I decided to go ahead and make it. But getting your gear into a state where you are able to go into these delves and really hit the ground running can help you get off to a faster start. Some other things you may want to consider doing would be doing your Mythic 0 clears for day 1 of Season 1 before you do your delves. You'll get item level 593 pieces in these Mythic 0s, and if you're able to get several good upgrades, including maybe like a weapon or some good trinkets, those can really help you in your survivability and in your damage output to be able to complete these delves as painlessly as possible. I did not test this part on beta, but what probably seems like it would be a really, really good move to do is try to do these with friends. Even if you have a 5-player group, you will still get Bran as your companion, and having a group with a tank and a healer and just a couple of really good DPS that you're communicating with and playing with effectively may make these much more painless. I know a lot of people are looking at delves as a way to have good solo content, and while that will be something that you can do, I think if you're trying to min-max your rewards on day 1 of the expansion, doing these with a group is probably going to save you a lot of time and a lot of pain. I hope that answers all you guys wanted to hear about delves and how you're going to be able to do your level 8 delves in week 1. If you have more questions, please ask me down in the comments below. If I missed anything or left anything out or said anything incorrect, please feel free to correct me. I'm always happy to hear feedback, and I want to make sure that we're getting all the right information out to the community. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to give us a like and a subscribe. We do have memberships available on YouTube if you want to support the channel, and of course I do stream on Twitch where you can come and hang out and ask questions while I'm live. I stream on YouTube as well, but you can pick whichever platform you want to watch. I'm not too picky. I like them both. And I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Farewell, friends.